embarrassed. This is really embarrassing.
Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the end of the year book tag, which is one of my favorite book tags to watch because I just love people talking about books towards the end of the year. But I just like to see what people talk about when the year is almost over and it comes time for them to pull out the memories or to decide what books they want to really prioritize to finish and things like that. I just really love this tag, and so I'm super excited to be doing it. This tag I believe was created by Ariel from Ariel Bassett, and I will link Ariel's original video down below for everyone to go and watch. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the questions. The first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish or that you want to finish? And for this, I have Wicked Fox as my first pick because this is a book that I had started I think last year and then tried to read again this year, and I don't know what it is because I was really enjoying the book every single time I picked it up, but just something kept getting in the way, and I feel like it's my mood reading feelings because fantasy is not really a genre I pick up when I am struggling to read. It's not a comfort genre for me. It's just something that I tend to read because something is super hyped or because I like a concept of something. And so typically if I'm struggling with reading or my mood is just kind of like not really feeling it, I drop whatever has to do with fantasy, and I feel like that's what continues to happen with Wicked Fox. I really loved what I read from it, so I want to finish it by the end of this year, but I feel like if my library betrays me, that's not going to happen, so we'll just have to see. This is a very like loose I hope to finish. Well, we don't know if it's gonna happen, but it will happen next year. Okay, it has to happen next year because if it doesn't, then I am going to be embarrassed. Okay,
Are you not ashamed of yourself?
the second book that I have on this list is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and this is a book that I am currently reading, absolutely loving. But why is it on this list? Why haven't I finished it yet? Considering I've been reading it since like September. I haven't finished it because I want to savor every single page, every single paragraph, every single line, every single word. I want to be with this book forever because I feel like it's going to be one of those that is on my all-time favorite books list just based off of how I have felt reading the first like 100-ish pages. It's just hitting me super hard and I don't want it to end, but at the same time I want to finish it this year so that it can be like, oh, favorites of 2020, and so it doesn't get muddled into 2021 because I feel like generally stuff I read in January tends to fall out of my memory, and I don't want that to happen with Addie, so I want to finish it this year, which is really not that big a deal, but I'm still like, maybe I'll still be petty and count it for 2020 if I read it like at the first week of January, but we'll see. That's definitely like super high on my priority list though. As long as I finish it before like January 1st, I'll be good. The second question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Kind of. This is a book that I can see myself reading like every August, September-ish time, and that's because first of all, the mood of the story, second of all, the vibes are just immaculate for that time of year, and it gets me really prepped and excited for the end of the year, especially as a student. I just get really excited to imagine myself reading this book. And the book I'm talking about will not surprise anyone because it is Radio Silence. And yeah, that's all I can say about it. It's Radio Silence. That's the only book that I can see myself transitioning into the end of the year with, especially because I don't really reread books that often. But just this one, I know there's something really comforting about this book, and so it is the pick for the question. Moving on to the third question. The third question is there a new release you are still waiting for? And the answer is yes. Usually it's like, not really, but this time it's a big fat yes. And the new release that I am still waiting for is These Violent Delights. This book is a retelling, Shakespeare reimagined, set in Shanghai. It is a fantasy, which kind of intimidates me because, like I said, fantasy is not really a genre that I run to for comfort, but I am super excited and super interested and intrigued by the entire premise of this book, and so it is one that I am juicily waiting for the debut date, for the date where it comes out and it's in my hands. I mean, it's already in my hands technically, but you know what I mean. Next is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? I guess this is like super similar to the first question. So I'll have The Invisible Life for sure on there. I will have Ties That Tether, which, like, look at the cover. Is that not just the most beautiful cover ever? Immaculate. I'm excited for that book because it is by a Nigerian author, and it's about a Nigerian woman who falls in love with somebody who is not Nigerian after she promises her dying parent that she will only marry somebody who is Nigerian. And I'm just ready for the family drama because I know there will be family drama, and so I'm ready and excited to see that. And I feel like it's a story that was going to be very, very relatable to me. And the last book on this list is going to be Everybody Looking, which is also a story written by a Nigerian author. And this follows a girl who is, I think, going to university, and she's discovering a lot about her identity, her sexuality, things like that. And I'm just really excited because lately, which is just amazing, Nigerian authors have been given the light, the shine, the platform that they deserve, especially contemporary and romance authors. And I just really love seeing that because I'm seeing Nigerian authors who make comics, I'm seeing Nigerian authors who are writing romance, Nigerian authors who are writing, you know, fantasy, where it's already kind of a thing. And now we're seeing like so many different things because Everybody Looking is a novel in verse. And I love these. Like, Elizabeth Acevedo has been snatching my wigs since day one. And now I have like a novel in verse written by a Nigerian author, and I just cannot wait to read it, to gobble it up. So yeah, hopefully I get to that by the end of the year, but we'll see. The next question, is there a book that you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That's the one book that I can feel it in my bones. You know when you haven't yet finished a book, but you just feel it, like, you know, even if you hate this book, like if you hate this book, it's your fault. Like if you finished the book after loving it for like 60, 70, whatever percent, you just can't be mad at the book. Like if that happens to me, we're just gonna pretend this whole video didn't happen. But if that happens to me, I would literally just be like, Chanel, it was definitely you and not the book. This will be that for me. But I just feel like Addie LaRue is going to shock me. It's going to blow me out of the park. It's going to leave me speechless, shocked, in pain, all kinds of things, because every time I open that book I sob. So I'm gonna have that on the list. So the last question for this tag is, have you started making your 2021 reading plans? Yes, but also no. So I typically do not plan out my reading, but because I have a book club, the Crusty Club, in case you didn't know, where I read different books every single month with whoever wants to read with me, and then we do a live show. I will have all the socials and links for that down below, as well as the Discord if you want to join and read books with us. So because I have that, like I said, I have my January, February, and March books planned, but outside of that I have nothing. But since I talked about the book club, I'm just going to announce and tell you guys what we'll be reading in January, February, and March. So for January, we have These Violent Delights, which, like I mentioned earlier in the video, is a fantasy reimagining of Romeo and Juliet set in Shanghai. It's really cool. It has rival gangs. It has these two people working in different sides, trying to work together to save their city. And I always love enemies to lovers tropes. I think it is so immaculate, so I'm very excited for that. Then in February, we will be reading Girl, Woman, Other, which is a fictional novel about different British Black people, mostly women. And then in March, we have Spoiler Alert, which is a romance novel about a plus-size woman who does cosplay, and I believe a guy who is an actor in Game of Thrones who writes fan fiction about Game of Thrones. Super interesting concept. We'll see. But I've heard so many good things about Spoiler Alert, so I'm really excited for that. But outside of those 3 books, I honestly have no idea what I will be reading next year. I tend to not know what's coming out until like a month before it comes out. And then I'm like, oh shoot, that sounds really interesting. Let me just like see if I can request it through my library or get ready to request it through my library. Then I start putting alarms up because I'm like, okay, right when the book drops, I'm checking my library to see if it's there. But yeah, outside of those, nothing planned. That was the end of the tag. But I do want to tag some people to do this. Specifically, I want to tag Erin from Booked and Busy, Alana from The Awkward Book Nerd, Kay from I Love Books So Kay, and Ace from Peach and Ace. Those are the people that I specifically want to tag. But if you do want to do this tag regardless, I still tag you to do it. Answer the questions. I will leave them down below. I don't know why my brain was like, what did you want to say? Time to go blank. But yes, like I said, I'll leave the questions down below, as well as Ariel's official video, her original video, everything like that will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you watched until the end, leave me a kiwi emoji, leave me a kiwi emoji, and tell me what books that you are excited to read next year. I will catch you all later. Peace out.